that is. So last weekend, so obviously haven't advanced this far, and we'll go even a little bit closer to the following rounds here. And again, I'm finding out the 3 teams. Anyways, with that said, we got a matchup here of the losers bracket round of 32, as you can see on your screen. We got what I'm just going to call them is Sjol going up against Team Zenzig here in this best out of 3 series. So my co-caster for today, the one and only Snooey, going to be joining me as well. Snooey, how's it going?
Doing good, Breaky. Excited to be here once again. Last weekend we got to see a lot of new, fresh heroes that were recently added to the tournament rules, and I hope that that trend continues here today. And I was looking through the roster names here, or the player names from both teams, and I can see quite a few familiar names, so I think we've got a decent matchup here.
Yeah, you know, I personally don't know too much about either side. I was told, though, I guess both these teams have gold experience from previous seasons even. So, you know, that in itself definitely means we should at least have a pretty solid matchup. But, I mean, you even recognize the players, so you know these guys from TMM, or you scribbled with them before even, or what?
Well, that's a really good question. I'm not entirely sure where I recall them from. I mean, it's probably a mix, but I do know that this guy that's tagged up as Druids over here at the Hellborn side, I'm a cake. He has been playing competitive before, that I'm certain of.
Okay.
So I can't recall what team that was for, if that was when Pew was still in it. You know, the CEO of Heroes of New Earth, as he likes to call himself. But yeah, it's probably a mix of a little bit here and there, but they have been along, or been around and seen for a few years now at least.
Yeah. Yeah, no, again, so looking forward to, again, just a really solid matchup here. That's been the great thing about these qualifiers, and will continue to be all the way throughout it into next week, and even where we get to witness some of these next level tier teams that we really haven't seen before, know very little about, and maybe get to know a little bit more about them with advancement. Now, again, this is a losers bracket matchup, so you lose here, you ultimately are going to be finished, and I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I believe that actually means you're going to be starting in silver at this point. There's 16 teams that make gold, and then, of course, the top 3 of this will advance on to make that Diamond Division, joining the 5 invited teams. So, yeah, if you lose this, you're going to be silver to start things off, which is that lowest tier of division. So that is most certainly something to keep in mind here for these 2 teams. But win and you stay alive and continue advancing forward here. Anyways, we got plenty to talk about already with the draft, so let's start getting into that here as far as that's concerned. The initial bans was Parasite, Moira, Dr. Repulsor, Midas, Clanks into Swiftblade, Rhapsody into Magnus, and Ophelia into Glacius. So valuing the Clanks carry here is good old Sjol on the legal side.
Taking note from Recent Gaming's book. Yeah, first pick Clanks, not too often do we see that. I'm surprised that they went with it. It's fairly easy to counter if you just know how to do it, but they picked up a Rhapsody and Ophelia now as well, so they got a lot of early pressure at the same time, so actually going offensive now might be tricky. I think this is just going to come down to our relatively passive game in the start at least. Both teams got very solid drafts, but as I take from the draft so far, I would say that Swiftblade is going to be suicide. I don't think that carry Swiftblade is optimal versus the Clank, seeing as he can fly away from your spin and all that. So probably looking at the Suicide, Swiftblade, and then we have Glacius potentially babysitting hard carry of Hellborn.
Yeah. So we'll see how that shapes up for them ultimately. But now the question is, perhaps, are we going to see a jungler come out from this Hellborn Saturday? And you do see the Tempest ban happening on the side of Sjol. So Silhouette, Bubbles, Ravener, Deadlift, and Tempest. That's something else I have to kind of remind ourselves, too, now that we are in these qualifiers here, a new season amongst us. Definitely a couple of changes. Obviously, with introduction of 6 heroes officially that come into tournament rules, and Deadlift was one of those. We've already got to see him in a couple of games of last weekend. So looking forward to seeing some more action of these new tier heroes coming into the scene. But so far, nothing just as far as picks goes. Drunken Master is going to happen here with that 4th pick. So a little bit of extra carry on the side of Sjol now.
Yeah, and you can see what Queen's stats feel about that hero right there. 37 win percentage is not the strongest, but it is good versus Swiftblade at least, and I guess it should have a fairly easy time versus the Glacius. At the same time, I mean, he can't really disjoint any of Glacius' spells. Thunder Blast and Ice Imprison should still be fairly easy to hit, so I still think, oh yeah, now Corrupted Disciple as well. I mean, 2 range versus a potential suicide drunken master, that's a little bit risky.
Yeah.
I feel like you need to have some kind of solid initiation if you run the Clanks, something that sets it up, some kind of like lockdown, but drunken master is more of that like late game semi-carry, if not the hard carry himself, so a little bit too greedy almost. I mean, with Ophelia as well, the Legion team probably tends to push early on, and the Drunken Master is not going to benefit or help his team by any means when it comes to pushing.
Yeah, that's something to think about here on the side of Sjol. So, Corrupted Disciple, though, the response here, of course, on the side of Team Zenzig. You got that correct, right? Yeah, Team Zenzig over here on the Hellborn side. So, one more pick on either side before advancing into the game. So the question is what that final pick is going to be. You talk about Drunken Master again. He's a hero that can be ran in several different roles here. Middle or Suicide could both be very warranted. It looks like it's going to be the Suicide in the end for the Drunken Master with that Flux final pick coming out.
All right, Flux I like. You can see it from the Hellborn lineup that they do not have a lot of magic damage early on. I mean, in the mid lane, it's probably going to be a solo Magnus. What it could have been is Magnus Glacius, but that doesn't really have enough damage to bring down a tanky strength hero as the Flux. So, yeah, great pick up there for the last pick, at least for the Legion team. Let's see what the Hellborn team is going to counter it with. I mean, they could run the Forest hero, but most of the stuff has been banned out. I mean, there is the Keeper of the Forest. We still have yet to see that hero in competitive.
That's true.
Because teams are a little bit too afraid of trying something new, especially as you mentioned, seeing as you risk dropping down to silver here from this matchup. But yeah, Keeper of the Forest. I think that could have been a solid pickup here for the Hellborn team. Now they are picking up the Revenant instead, and they're going out like full-out aggressive. They don't really have too much to fall back on if that early aggression were to backfire.
Yeah.
There is the Swiftblade and the Corrupted Disciple, but they're not really going to be able to stand too much of a chance versus the Clanks if they were to come to one-on-one situations later on.
All right, so yeah, the Revenant final pick. It's not your usual typical hero to see by any means, but going to be ran here instead by Team Zenzig, and as very likely more of a secondary support role. I would figure at least. I mean, something like a secondary support Magnus, I guess, wouldn't be absolutely out of the question, but you will probably see it ran as a support here. And Wazoo going to be playing it, and it looks like with the way he's starting with his items, that is going to absolutely be the case. I think justifying the early portal key on Magnus just makes too much sense. And trying to get him that tool, obviously, very important as soon as possible.
I do think that the Hellborn team is going to run an offensive tri-lane, though. This last pick, Revenant, with the Corrupted Disciple as well. I mean, this is usually what Recent Gaming does when they pick up the Corrupted Disciple. They prepare to go for that pseudo tri-lane offensively, like have their supports. Usually Tankafed is playing a Forest hero, but it seems like, what were they calling on this Hellborn team? Sensik? Yeah, Sensik.
Yeah.
Are looking to run the dual supports instead. And there we go, Magnus is going to be Invist, looking for Rhapsody.
Looking for somebody, but as we see, probably not going to happen in the end. The Legion team did a pretty good job of actually avoiding any chance, and that's good on their part. I mean, you know, you're going up against a Revenant, who obviously, as we see right there with that Essence Shroud, can be very scary. You know, not knowing exactly where they're going to be, especially if you're not here in full numbers. So they do a good job of making a point. Let's just play it very safe, and that they do. Now, they didn't protect their jungle, which means Ophelia will have to deal with at least one. It looks like a couple of blocked camps here. As a Rev Ward to take another one, even a Ward aside just simply for vision purposes to notice where she's at. But is it actually going to be aggressive? No, they're going to leave it to actually just Swiftblade in the end. So I was with you. I thought that definitely was looking like it's going to be happening, but
Don't shout, hey, just yet. I mean, look at Revenant and Glacius' position. It still looks like they are lingering behind a little bit. Revenant, though, I mean, I like the fact that they tried to be creative there and tried to get a first blood with the Invis, but still giving up that level 1 or skilling Assassin Shroud is not going to necessarily help his ganking potential. They're going to Invis Glacius here. They're actually going to go for aggressive here in the mid, but it's not enough damage if Revenant doesn't have the slow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, even a double stun, you're right. I mean, the double Crush Claw, we see this all the time on Flux. They're going to need some hero blocking or something. I mean, look, it's not even a half-life yet. Finally, because it's like, okay, well, we did half-life with 3 heroes. What did we really accomplish right there? Not a whole lot.
Yeah,
So
just pushed the lane and allowed Flux to get some last hits, more or less. And look at that. Nice harassment from Listig here playing the Flux.
Yeah. That's really a case. I mean, And again, at this tier, even it's learning and getting experience and whatnot, but that's just one of those cases you got to know the matchup. So Flux is notoriously known for being one of the tankiest heroes in the laning phase, as he once again showed right there, especially with the early item build. So the idea that you think you're going to kill him with just a double stun combo usually would kill a lot of heroes. Flux is one of those that it's not really going to kill necessarily, as we even saw right there, not even close for that matter. So yeah, definitely not necessarily respecting the matchup, I guess you could say.
Oh, look at this though, Rhapsody. He's in a really tough position right now. I think he's going to fall.
Rhapsody a little easier to kill, and that will show right there. Kolak getting the bloodless kill, flank Glacius. So that's definitely a better target.
Yeah, they are actually making use of it quite well. Oh, look at the mid lane, by the way. Magnus might be in trouble. No mana for Lava Surge.
Minotaur, though, might chase him down. This is interesting, actually. Stun? Yeah, a couple hits. It's not going to be enough, though. Just enough mana right there. So, going to lose a Minotaur? No, we'll keep the Minotaur. Oh, okay, never mind. He's like, here, take it, tower.
Never mind.
I don't want it. Well, good attempt. He will force him out of the lane, though, so that's good news for the Legion team. Nonetheless here, but yeah, losing Rhapsody. So it does end up being a tri lane in the end here in this bottom lane.
That it is. As long as they can keep banks away from farming, I guess it's alright.
Yeah.
Corrupted Disciple is doing a good job at the top lane, or he's doing 220 gold per minute. He's better than Drunken Master, but none of them doing really great. Of course, Ophelia is in the Hellborn Forest, so he needs to be careful a little bit. Drunken Master is one of those heroes that can easily initiate and lock down you in the early levels.
Yeah. Need to be careful about that. I will say Revenant Swiftblade also seems like it's a pretty deadly combination. I mean, any hero that obviously can really help Swiftblade get good position with the spin is pretty good combo. Glacius, for that matter, definitely a solid teammate as well. But with that Essence Shroud, it seems like it could be a lot of potential there. Top lane, though, Corrupted Disciple hit. Now, he has the Conduit on Drunken Master, so Drunken's really hitting for nothing right now. And that could be the difference maker. I mean, you see that no damage coming out to the stagger on the auto attacks. And that's going to be the difference. Wow, that Conduit, man. That was nice right there. Oh, Vagabond Leader, almost a kill.
Close one. Too bad Ophelia was only level 2.
Yeah.
Right there. That was a good attempt, at least putting a lot of pressure, and as we can see, there's no health pot here on Corrupted Disciple, so this is at least going to allow Drunken Master to get a few creep kills.
He's going to open up a little bit. He is level 4 right here, you know, again, really has been a 1 versus 1 matchup, so...
Cool mid lane, Magnus is so close to dying.
Is he? He's going to die right here. Oh, the miss because of the steam bath. This is...
Oh, Rhapsody's coming in from the
Rhapsody
side.
Coming in, and there's the final pull right there from Listig to secure the kill. So, yeah, it's got a little iffy there, but Rhapsody makes sure that they get the job done.
Yeah, that was a nice rotation actually from Rhapsody. Not entirely sure about leaving Clanks down here solo, but seeing as the Hellborn team is not pulling the lane or getting the lane pushed back, I mean, Clanks is still getting free experience and some last hit, so Rhapsody making the decision to rotate to the mid, and he's getting a kill in return, so nice plays there by Mikkel.
Look at this bottom lane warding situation right here. 2 Rev Wards literally just out of range of the ward of sight right here.
Oh.
That's gotta be brutal, man.
Damn, that's that's brutal.
Like, they have the right idea. Obviously they know something's up, that a ward's probably here, but they just happen to just the 2 wrong spots. Anyways, Magnus middle lane once again. It's gonna have that steam bath, but we saw last time that proved not to be the enough in the end. He's gonna try to start running away right here, but look at that. Ophelia with the Skeleton King. Maybe can he get the stun off? No, he cannot. Well played by Magnus. Stunning the Skeleton King, knowing that was their only out to get the kill at that point, so manages to escape.
And Hellborn team finally pulled the lane back down at the bottom as well, so now Clanks is in a difficult position. Where is he going to go from this? He's going to need his team to rotate over. He's going to need Ophelia and Rhapsody to get down here and help him, because if they do not get farmed on Clanks, then they're not going to win this game. It's as simple as that.
This is interesting right here with Rhapsody. Revenant's not really going to be able to get killed by himself by any means, but maybe if Glacius comes over, but he's going to run past a Rev Horde right there, and that's probably going to get him some kind of information. You see a courier coming in as well. He's trying to block, but actually not really the prettiest. Popsy and Feeble going for some auto attacks. Magnus is a little too far, though, and the Legion team playing it very safe right there to the point of going to be fine. I almost want to say they could have manned up with this Flux, man. He's level 6. He's pretty beefy right here. He is going to come in because Clank's also assisting, and now Glacius is like, I'm going to try to TP. That ain't going to happen, though. Revenant also getting caught, but he does have the Essence Shroud. And should be enough to get away. He needs to be careful with the tower here.
Yeah,
Oh
I think he's gonna die. Oh my god, Clux is gonna change path. Okay.
Yeah. Well, he lives. It's a good getaway right there, but a lot of action surrounding this middle lane is what this game has come down to here. The bottom and the top lane seem like they're pretty independent for the most part throughout.
Yes, whoa, Swiftly just hit level 6 at the bot. No, he chose the spin before the ultimate.
Yeah. That was definitely a misclick, or him not really thinking too well right there. I think he kind of panicked because he got hit by the bang, so he figured he needed to spin.
It must have been a misclick. Either that, or if for some reason thought that he would reach with that spin. But that was a free kill, unfortunately.
Yeah.
That he lost.
So unsuccessful with that. But I will say something that's really standing out to me this game is, you know, nearly 7 minutes in. So early on, but this is not a heavy farm game. No one even surpassing 300 gold per minute just yet, including both the team's carries here at this point. So do you think that's just because of the movement here early on, or is it maybe blast hitting not necessarily on top, on point here, or what?
It's probably a little bit of a mix. Of course, there's been a lot of aggression. I feel, though, that Corrupted Disciple should have been able to reach that mark quite some time ago. He is reaching it now. Oh, action in the bot lane. Nice pickup on Clanks. Yeah, but as we see, Corrupted Disciple, I mean, he hit that 300 gold per minute mark right there, and Swiftblood is closing up. So, I mean, at least they are starting to get warm in their clothes, so to say.
Yeah.
They're hopefully reach those marks in the near future.
Swiftblade, he's continuing to farm pretty well now and boost up as talking about no one over 300 gold per minute. Yeah, well, he's just about there, and Corrupted Disciple is as well. So great news here for Team Zenzig. Drunken Master in the meantime rotating. Going to go for that 8-minute rune. Him and Flux happen to both be here. Flux actually with the bottle, so you'd figure he's going to be the one to pick it up. So not sure what exactly the plan they make happen with this. It's only the illusion rune. So if it's maybe a haste or even a double damage or something like that, perhaps they could have tried for something. But illusion not necessarily going to get you a kill here. So
They desperately need to find some experience for this Ophelia. For some reason, she's only level 4. She did spend a lot of time ganking and moving around the map in the early levels, but I almost feel like she overdid it.
Yeah.
She could have been level 6 at least at this point, if not level 7, if she just continued to farm Magma's Eruption. Is it going to be enough?
Yes. You know, the biggest reason why right there is because of that mortification from Revenant. That minus magic armor, no doubt helping a bit right there with that Eruption. Bottle in the meantime, Swiftblade now. He's trying to spin, maybe set up a kill with the Swift Slashes. It's so many targets, though. Yeah, I was going to say he's going to need some lucky bounces there. And he didn't really get them. So I love Sanja, unfortunately, dying right there.
Alright, Drunken Master, yeah, rotating down here, getting the kill on Swiftblade, but at the same time, I think this is going to mean that Corrupted Disciple, if he's smart at least, he puts pressure on the top tower and tries to secure his team some extra gold here.
See a TP coming to the middle lane, but as that happens, you got Glacius and Revenant both in the vicinity here. Granted, there is a ward of sight placed by this Legion side that may have spotted something coming up.
I don't think that they should go for this Flux. Do they really have enough?
Without the Eruption, they definitely don't, right? I mean, it's not even going to be close right here. In fact, Magnus needs to be careful not to get turned. Yeah, that was a really risky decision, and it could backfire still. Glacius, yeah, he's going to get caught by the lunge and eventually will be killed off, so you're definitely right to say. Probably shouldn't have gone for it.
I'm surprised that they went with the Glacius and Revenant as, like, the guys roaming around. The Glacius is not necessarily known for having a lot of damage early on. I mean, she's better as an outboxer or even stacking the forest, that kind of stuff, like Lockdown later on into the game with the Ice Imprison. But yeah, versus like if you are looking to get some easy, swift kills, just pick off heroes here and there without the enemy or the enemy team like responding in time, then you need a little bit more burst heavy, like a Pyromonster, a Luna, something like that, rather than the Glacius.
Yeah. Ward of sight down here, but good job with the Veiled Rot from Magnus. He's going to sneak right by it. He's going to find Rhapsody. Doesn't stun initially, though. We'll get the stun off eventually. Swiftblade coming in with the spin, but a nice pull from Flux right there. Find the distance. It's not going to be enough, though. It did delay it a little bit longer, and they are able to set up the counter kill on a Magnus. Ophelia running in. Ugh, not the best microing right there with the Catman champion and Ophelia herself, so missing the slow on a Swiftblade. And, man, I got to think that that was definitely the difference right there in a kill, because Flux could have possibly caught up right there. And that could have very likely happened.
It would have been close. Glacius was nearby as well, and he had a freeze available. So, in the end, I think it would have been fine. But seeing as he had the Ghost Marchers and Flux had the Steam Boots. But, I mean, yeah, you never know. For sure. Oh, what's going on at the top lane? 2 TPs coming in.
Yeah, the conduit enough damage drained right there to easily get the kill, but at what cost, as we say, Clank's coming in with the turn as well as Flux, and not much Corrupted Disciple can do after that, so despite him doing some good damage right there, not enough way to get out of that lockdown.
Oh, look at Swiftblade. Action continues down in the Legion Forest. Ophelia is in trouble now. Swiftspin is up.
Yep. Press star and got the kill, so good job right there.
If they coordinated a little bit better there, I think that Rhapsody and Ophelia could have just taken a few bounces from that Swift Slashes each.
Well, I think, yeah, Ophelia herself, she actually, the Vagabond leader was really far away right there. If she kept it close to her, then at least could have maybe tried to absorb at least one of the bounces there. Maybe been a difference, but
good. Oh, they're actually going to use the Eruption over here as well on the Hellborn side, or at the actions, and don't really think it was necessary, but at least it cleaned them up.
Yeah, it's still a little bit off from the portal key. Only 820 gold currently saved up. Predictable here playing the Magnus. 280 gold per minute. Not too shabby, but not necessarily. Yeah, if that was to get the portal key, right, maybe right there. But at the same time, this hopefully means by the time he does get the PK, the Eruption will be back up. So that's what I guess the good news is. The fact that he doesn't have it yet. Not really going to find the opportunity. Bottom lane, though. Spin from Swiftblade. Rhapsody will fall. Can they chase down Clanks for the kill? It's slow. It's pretty heavy right here. Flux another push right there. Trying to save Clanks. Flux himself is running in. That's going to scare them off. I don't know about that. Well, yeah, again, they don't necessarily know or have the information that we do, but Drunken and Flux both coming in, so perhaps that was the best choice to decide.
I think that the Hellborn team almost should stick behind a little bit. They have the Invis on Revenant again. They could use it on Magnus and scout out and try to set up a kill. No, they're just going to retreat full mode. Corrupted Disciple is pushing the top, and Legion, as we saw, they used all their ports to get down there to the bot lane, so this should be a tier 1 tower. And I was surprised by how little damage this first tier 1 tower up here at the top has taken. Like, it's only lost 400 health, and Corrupted Disciple has been solo for most of the time.
Yeah, he's been up here, obviously doing a little bit of work, so like kill earlier on Corrupted Disciple, and, or excuse me, on a Drunken Master, and speaking of that, he's heading back up here.
Oh, look at Magnus once again. Going to find Ophelia in the forest.
A lot of roam continues, man. Ophelia is going to get caught and eventually killed off there, despite Rhapsody being nearby. It just seems like that's the game plan right now for this Hellborn team, especially with Magnus, Glacius, and Revenant just really going around setting up kills here in this jungle.
Yeah, they're doing a fantastic job. Just keep the pressure up at non-stop. Like, they never slow down. Like, Glacius and Revenant, they have been top once this game, but other than that, they've just been completely making sure that the Legion team cannot farm their own forest. Clanks, he only got the Energizer and the Steam Boots. He's stuck at 300 gold per minute. It's not too far away from the Swiftblade and the Corrupted Disciple, but still, he's going to need a little bit more before he can carry this on his own. Drunken Master is struggling big time. He's only on 200 gold per minute, so this is like going to be Clanks versus the world if this continues.
See, bottom tower also going to be heavily pressured now. You make the point about the top tower. I mean, in general, 14 minutes in, no tower kills happening yet. Finally, we see our first one, and it happens to be the bottom tower in favor of the Hellborn team right there. You got Abyssal Skull on Swiftblade with the Ghost Marchers, and he's going to continue pushing. He does have a lot of reinforcements nearby, so definitely feeling very comfortable that he can push up this far with his team. So the Legion side has to make a decision right here what they really want to do. And I think it starts with trying to find some openings here for Clanks to get some farm. Because right now, man, despite being 4-1-0, you would figure that this Clank could be taken off right now with farm, but only 285 GPM. So,
I didn't even realize they actually had 4 kills.
Exactly. I just caught that as well. But the fact that he's under 300 gold per minute still, even despite having 4 kills, pretty worrisome, almost.
And Glacius comes in once again. Ice in prison. Is that maxed out, by the way? It is. No.
No, it's only level 1, actually. Yeah, so really not the strongest right there. Drunken Master, in the meantime, trying to turn on his Swiftblade here. Swiftblade will go down. He had Swift Slashes, but chose his best not to use. Was probably dead anyways. Glacius picked off as well. And the chase will continue.
Got the Magnus portal key. He could use an Eruption and try to turn it around. It's probably not going to be smart, though, unless Corrupted Disciple decides to support down here and aid his team.
Ooh, Dust used right there for both vision and just to see further, but also obviously with the invis of Revenant, and that will allow them to catch up to him as well. So ultimately chase down a couple, and they get 3 kills out of it in the end. So really not too bad at all by any means for Sjol. And now they're going to counter push this bottom lane because all 5 are here, so why the hell not?
Great news for the Legion team actually being able to get 3 kills out of that. Magnus he just reached his portal key timing and he was down there, he was heading towards the Clank, so if the Hellborn team would have just been a little bit more patient and waited 2-3 seconds, then they would have had a Magnus down to follow up and would have easily been able to finish up the Clanks before the team support arrived. But now being a little bit too hasty, believing himself or overestimating their damage a little bit, Legion team is going to get a tier 1 tower and 3 kills in return.
Yeah.
So that's definitely going to turn the game around. And look at that, Flux picking up a portal key on his own now.
Yeah, it's interesting to see the portal key on Flux early. I mean,
mid lane, by the way, Ruption.
Yeah, Ruption on the Clanks right there with the portal key. It looks like he jumped a little late with it, but it still easily gets the kill in the end. Flux in the meantime too, yes, he will go down as well. So he gets the PK himself, dies shortly after. Double tap for Predictable though, playing the Magnus. They're going to also kill off some Ophelia minions here in the process, but that was huge for them. And man, look at that gold swing all of a sudden. Now a 5,600 gold lead and a 3,400 experience lead just like that in favor of this Hellborn side. So
wow. Once again, the game definitely taking a turn here, and now in the Hellborn's favor instead. Corrupted Disciple, though, I still feel like he should be a little bit more active than he really is. I feel like they could take more advantage of his early damage here. I mean, he doesn't have a Mystic Vestment, which is unfortunate, I feel. I think he should have one versus his Legion team, but other than that, he got the Energizer and he got a Firebrand, so, I mean, if he's just with the team right now, I feel like they can just take control over the entire Legion force and just, like, more or less just keep Clanks in the base, preventing him from getting any farm at all. Instead, they keep on farming with the Corrupted Disciple, and he's only been part of 1 kill in a total of 10. I feel like he should be a little bit more active at least.
Corrupted Disciple with that Firebrand here, as you mentioned, and yeah, he's definitely a hero that he's one of these carry kind of presence heroes that most certainly can get very involved early on in the game. I mean, his skill set obviously allows for that. Conduit especially, the big one there. The Electric Tide, some good damage, especially early on, and then that Overload will most certainly enhance your team's damage, but also put out some good damage yourself. So, yeah, definitely something to think about here if you are Corrupted Disciple. Necessarily sitting back in the lane and just farm may not necessarily be the best option, but still, his team is.
Oh, Magnus, what is he going to do? He jumped in offensively with a portal key into no vision at all. Now he's in trouble.
Oh, that was really poor decision from Magnus right there. He even took the extra second to kill the Minotaur, which probably he would have been able to get away even if he didn't do that. So he made a couple of poor decisions right there. And then Wazoo on Revenant ends up going down as well. If Corrupted dies here on top of it, that's going to be brutal. Okay, he will live at least, but jeez, yeah, that was definitely not the most top-of-the-line decision-making there.
Nope. Oh, Swiftblade, by the way, he used the Veiled Wrath, and he's going to almost run into Clanks. Actually, Clanks taking the bird path right there, missing Swiftblade. That was a little bit lucky on his part.
Yeah, that was really close right there, but now he's still hanging around, though. Obviously, he knows he's here with farming up the creep wave, but Swiftblade has level 2 slashes, but he really can't bank on all of them hitting Clanks by any means. And he would even maybe need a critter. So he's going to find Rhapsody, though, is running on the uphill, and just like this, a couple of auto attacks later with the spin will secure the kill, and not much Clank could have really done right there to turn it. Maybe he could have popped Goon Squad and go for an all-out assault himself, but might not have been successful either. So, and they're going to get their Ancient Stolen, which are double stacked currently. So it's a good resource management coming out here from the Hellborn side. Glacius is like, I just want to kill these ASAP. So he's going to pop his Glacial Downpour right there as well to assist these. So, yeah, Clank's, going back to him, by the way, we mentioned how his farm definitely seems like it's really struggling, even despite having several hero kills early on. Also, he's going a very defensive build here. Energizer and now straight into a Shrunken Head, it looks like.
Yeah, I feel like the second that he gets the Shrunken Head off, it's already too late, more or less. I mean, he's going to be locked down throughout the entire team fight. Anyway, like if he picks up the BKB, then the Hellborn team just makes sure to focus him. Like they just jump with the Magnus, and that's it. He's still gonna drop. I feel like he should have gone for a much more greedy route, like the Thunderclaw into maybe even the Geometer's Bane. It's such a great tool versus you can get out of the Glacius Freeze, you can disjoint, or you can make the Swift Spin, the Swift Slashes become much more ineffective as well. And then you would have the damage output or the physical damage to definitely support your team in team fights as well, rather than just go full out or full out on a BKB.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, whenever we see Clanks, it's just Thunderclaw just seems like it's the obvious go-to. Even if you are falling behind, I almost feel like that's more reason to try to want to get that, you know, as soon as possible, then start recovering quite a bit. So, yeah, I just don't know if I feel like I'm a huge fan of this Shrunken Head, not only for the points he made right there, but also because, again, this is a hero that really is pretty item dependent, honestly. Sure, he deals a lot of magic damage, but he's really dependent on a lot of that really quick attack speed such that the Thunderclaw brings, and you know, the rapid fire that he can do with the Firebrand, even that agility gain that he can get, and being able to sit back and deal some great damage from a distance. So, yeah, we'll see how the Shrunken Head works out for him, because unless he changes his pace here, I mean, maybe he could just be going for the Mighty Blade and then building into a Thunderclaw after or something else, but we've definitely seen something like that before, too. Because, of course, the eventual Shrunken's good.
Down here. He's got a Haste Rune, he got a PK and a Tablet, but... okay, it's going to be enough.
Maybe?
Oh!
Oh, that pull. Flux had to ulti in the end, but it does get the kill. All 5 were here, though, so I don't even know if that's necessarily the worst thing for Magnus. The fact that they died right there. I mean, they used an ultimate. All 5 happened to be there, so...
They're going to get a little bit more. Oh, Swift Slash is going to find the creeps, though.
Oops. Yep, he definitely got a little too overzealous with this one. And Swiftblade will go down. So now, Magnus, maybe not that big of a deal, but Swiftblade, okay, it's adding up here. And now Glacius, oh no, he's going to be found too. There's the lunge and the easy kill. So just like that, they climb right back in here.
And experience gain is back to even. And when you're versus a Clank, that is, of course, never a good thing. Damn. Still, though, 330 gold per minute, so it isn't the worst case for the Hellborn team. They still got this game, I feel, as long as they group up. They got a stronger team fight, and I feel like they are going to be stronger for the next, well, 10, 15, maybe even 20 minutes before Clanks gets 2 or 3 more items. Up until that point, I would still favor Hellborn. And look at that, he's actually going to change his path for his item choice. He's going to go for the Thunderclaw, and I like that.
Yeah, no, that's what I was just getting at. It's, you know, it's something we've seen. This reminds me of Soul Stealer was a hero that used to did this idea quite a bit, where you know you get the Mighty Blade just because you want that tankiness, a little bit of tankiness, knowing that eventually you're going to be getting a Shrunken Head. So why not invest 1,000 gold into that first, and then get your farming tool or whatever other tool? And Soul Stealer again was kind of popular for that. Eventually get the Sat Strat or even the Portal Key, something like that. Anyways, Clank's going the Thunderclaw here, as you pointed out. And yeah, definitely too like this idea, because ideally now he should be able to start getting some good farm. I mean, I honestly still can't believe his farm is really struggling quite a bit. I say struggling lightly. I mean, 330 is not crazy low, but for Clanks, it's pretty low, to be honest. And,
yeah, they should sit 5 people in their own forest, I feel, and secure Clanks to 400 gold per minute plus, at least, rather than having him run between lanes all the time. I mean, he's been running through mid and top for the last 10 minutes now, instead of just sitting stagnant in the middle or in his own forest, while everyone in his team just helps out with stacks. What are they doing here in the mid lane? Why is the Legion team pushing the issue? I feel like they should be the one farming and not initiate, but here they go.
Yeah, they don't have to necessarily the strongest wombo combo either, and so it's a little funkier with this initiation, but they're going to try for something. Swift Slash is bouncing out, Grip the Saddle. He's in the party, though. He's going right for Clanks in the background. Magnus comes in with the Eruption. He's 2 chasing Clanks, but not enough for the kill. So they got very tunnel vision there, committing to trying to get one person. They do end up getting Flux. They lost Swiftblade in the process. There's the kill on Ophelia, though. A double tap for I'm a Cake, playing the Corrupted Disciple. And he'll hit level 16 in the process. So the big picture definitely works out in favor of Team Zenzig here, and for a couple of reasons. But I mean, we saw at the beginning of that fight, though. The biggest one for me was Flux going in with the huge ultimate. It's like, what does that set up really? Not a whole lot.
Absolutely nothing. They have nothing to lock down the Swiftblade or the Magnus. So even they cannot make those kind of drastic initiations like that. I mean, a full-on team fight is only going to favor the Hellborn team. Magnus had plenty of time there to just launch Eruption, and as you can see, it hit more or less 3 heroes. Unfortunately, it didn't hit the stun. That would have been devastating for the Legion team, but still, even when it didn't hit the stun, they still came out winning that team fight big time. So Legion team, yeah, being a little bit too overconfident almost. They just picked up the Astro on Ophelia. I'm not quite sure if that was like the, hey guys, we got an Astro, let's try to bring down some towers, but definitely backfiring right there.
Yeah. So back and forth here in this game. It does seem like it's continued to be slightly in favor of Team Zenzig overall, and Corrupted Disciple not only being level 16 now, but obviously his farm's really showing. He went to Geometer's Bane first initially, and now he's got the Glowstone picked up. So the Staff of the Master is very likely going to follow here, and definitely a very strong tool on Corrupted. It does seem like Staff on Corrupted is more of the initial item even you almost want to pick up to really, you know, assist with pushing and whatnot, but at the same time, I think it's still a good item to eventually build into as well with that overload of his.
Look at this Legion team, by the way. They are, once more, is trying to push the issue here in the mid lane. It's not going to result any better this time. So I'm not quite sure why they're still all stacked up here. I guess it's just the power of the Revenant, the ganks that they fear. So they do not want to go into their own forest. But they got a bound out here on Drunken Master. So as long as he's in the lead, they shouldn't have any problems, at least having Clanks farming their own forest.
Yeah. Yeah, I gotta say, for Winpock here, play the Clanks, I mean, again, this is like first pick Clanks, remember, too, here on this Legion side. So clearly putting a lot of value into it. Flux, in the meantime, by the way, getting jumped on right here. Perhaps starting a fight, Flux pulling back, but again, the follow-up not really the strongest right there. Ophelia tried to maybe assist, but nothing really coming out of it, and everyone will now retreat here, or at least try to. Magma's come to with a stun. Drucker going to be pulled back by his teammate. Will it still be enough? Yes, it will. So finally it comes to a conclusion there. Nobody dying. But going back to the Clanks, so especially for a first pick Clanks, it seems like that they're a little unsure or a little, you know, not really comfortable with playing the hero how we just are so used to seeing it played. That would just naturally make sense. As you pointed out, I mean, we've seen several times now they group it up as 5 trying to find kills when not only is a teammate lineup doesn't really make a whole lot of sense, but Clanks himself is not a hero that you want to be constantly grouping up and looking for kills. You just want to flash farm, man. So that's what the hero's great at, but he's getting some farm right now. Conger, though, in the meantime, going to be going down, though, for the Hellborn side.
Alright, so they got a token of life, but here's the thing, like, are they still able to siege the enemy base? I feel like as long as the Legion team is standing in their base, the Hellborn team doesn't really have anything to put on tanking those towers. So they should still be alright with this trade-off. I mean, they got 1 tower and a little bit more farm on Clank. It's 350 gold per minute now. Not the biggest deal, but still, like, Hellborn team, they really need to make a commitment with this token of life, at least, I feel.
Yeah. Definitely. You know, the Staff of the Master, I wouldn't be surprised if we're going to really try to maybe finish that, especially with the token, get the Staff here, and then you're going to become a pretty strong threat as far as pushing. You know, he's trying to find some farm here. He needs, what, about 20 or 1,200 more gold. He already has the glow singer, so 3,000 more than he'll have it. So maybe that'll be the cue here for this Hellborn side. But that does mean a little more time for the Legion team to pick up some more farm, and back to Clanks. He does finish the shrunken head here, so that's going to be good in a defensive sense.
I think he should have gone for the Geometers instead. It would have been so much better.
Yeah.
I mean, it dispels the Corrupted Conduit now as well, when I think of it. So there's a lot of spells on the Hellborn side that it would have been so effective on, or versus, and would have still provided him with a lot of damage and that farming capability, rather than a BKB full-out defensive. And I mean, it does help, of course, versus some slows and stuff, but as the game has been progressing lately, it just hasn't been like full-out team fights. I don't think that a BKB would have saved him in any of those previous fights. So, oh, he gets stuck on the ledge. Never mind.
Just use that Hawk. Yeah, it really goes back to Flexo, too. The idea of him getting that portal key early on in this game, and I wanted to make a point at the time, but it actually just kept happening. But I think you touched on it as well. It's just with this lineup, it just doesn't make sense. You're not setting up a wombo combo, so I mean, we already see a lot of Flexes just favor the Insanitarius first anyways, even if they have a lineup that surrounds, you know, something like an NG or a Magnus or a Tempest, but it's just that idea that you want him to be able to do some good damage. But with this build, not only is he not doing nearly as much damage as he could be, but again, the Portal Cube really isn't accomplishing a whole lot. So it's kind of a lot of wasted gold in essence here on this hero.
Definitely going to slow down his farm at least. But look at this trade that they're doing right now. Hellborn team took way too long to push that bot tower. Now they get the first tower, but Legion team has already gotten to tier 1 in the tower or in the mid, and they're already pounding on tier 2. As well as Clank's pounding on the tier 2 at the top as well. So Hellborn team, they need to push this base tower fast.
That is the plan. You see the tower dropping half-life already. So it's doing a bit of work right here. Now the Legion team has all fallen back. However, the Hellborn side also is not going to really commit to a full onslaught there in the end, and they will fall back and continue to farm themselves. So apparently they figure it's not time just yet to use this token of life necessarily. Under 2 minutes now remaining on it. He did purchase the staff of the master. It's being delivered here. But they're not necessarily, or maybe they are. They are grouping up middle lane, it looks like.
Yeah, they should definitely keep the pressure up. I don't see any reason for why they would back off a fight like that. I mean, when Legion team allowed the tower to drop down to, well, what is that, 30%, they should have just kept going. With the token of life, just have Corrupted Disciple in the front and slowly grind the tower down. They're not in a rush, seeing as everyone back to base. So they're not going to be farming.
Yeah.
But yeah, as long as they keep the pressure up here in the mid, it's still fine.
I don't know if that was me or if that was your sky. It sounded like went a little robotic right there, but it sounds fine now. So we'll address that if it continues here. But anyway, so yeah, they are going to group up and push. Sure enough, a minute remaining on that token. It was okay. Yeah, you're that too. So all right, but yeah, I'll let you know if it happens again. But they're just going to say, you know what, it's just still not worth trying to break into the base right here. Let's go ahead and kill some Ancients. You know, arguably could have been better off just going for this top tower at least. Clear out the rest of the outer towers, but instead they insist on falling back altogether and going to farm out what they can. So not necessarily making the greatest use of the token of life. I mean, obviously, the threat of it did allow them to easily push into the outer towers here. But we're not able to really break the base necessarily or anything like that. And once again, goes back to a little bit more time given to this Legion side to farm up more. On heroes like Drunken's one we haven't really talked a whole lot about just yet. He's even him, man, 4-1-7, yet he's only 250 gold per minute. It just feels off.
That's I'm not sure what to say. I mean, I didn't even realize that either. 4-1-7 suicide Drunken Master, and he's only on 250 gold per minute. Damn.
Yeah.
I mean, that just shows how much this Legion team has been respecting Revenant pick, and that's a secondary support hero. Like, that has been completely just turning the game around. Let's look at here in the mid lane. Swiftly picked up a Brutalizer.
He did. I gotta say, it happened once again. It almost makes you sound really drunk, like you're slurring your words when it happens. It's honestly a little funny. So, but no, do you want to maybe try rejoining the call, perhaps? Because I think you're getting a little robotic here. Yeah, if you don't mind. But it's like part of me just wants to keep it, but it is hard to understand a little bit when it does happen. All right, but anyways, so Corrupted Disciple again. You mentioned the Brutalizer picked up on Swift Blade, so that's what he's talking about there at the end. With the Frostburn on top of that, so yeah, he's clearly quite the threat here as far as the assisting carry, as that's the role that it seems like Swift Blade does play a lot nowadays. And gonna assist right here, and once again, they kind of look at the base, and then they all start to fall back, so.
All right, can you hear the difference now? Does it sound good?
It sounds good now, yeah. Sounds good now.
All right. Well, hopefully it doesn't happen again. I mean, that's what you get from actually casting from your parents' house rather than your apartment this weekend.
Different location. Yeah, that'll happen.
Oh, yeah. Oh, look at this Clank, by the way. He's going to be found.
Yeah, he's dead. I was going to say he ran right into Swift Blade, and that's the target you do not want to run into, especially when you're not surrounded by anything. So, easily gets taken out there, and Clank's usually pretty good at that idea, kind of split pushing and farming elsewhere, and we see that all the time, but just happened right there. It was a good catch by Magnus initially, and then the chase eventually happened to get the kill, so they backed off.
Yeah, that's what you like. I mean, he got a BKB now, but like as you saw, I mean, it doesn't really help him in those kind of situations. So it would have been so much better for him if he just went for the greedy Geometer's Bane, or I don't know, even something like a Frostburn would have helped him so much more in this game. And the Hellborn team, are they waiting for yet another Congo before they try to siege the base? I feel like they got all the momentum in the world. They don't really need to wait for anything.
Yeah.
The more items that Clank gets, the scarier it's going to get.
That's always the threat in the back of the mind, I'm sure. But at the same time, I'm sure they also feel pretty comfortable with where they're at, too. The Corrupted and the Swift Blade out farming Clanks at this point. And continuing to do so, really have been throughout this whole game. So Yeah, not gonna siege just yet. It does seem like that the idea of waiting for the next Conqueror, which honestly should be up soon here. I think in the next couple of minutes, as the first token of war up, of course, after 5. So, yeah, in just a couple of minutes here, he should be back up, and they should be able to go with it. So, that'll be the next point of contention. I'm sure it's just a matter of how the Legion team will deal with it when they find out Conqueror's happening. Probably in the back of their mind as well. That's what they're waiting for. A lot of Shrunken Head priority on this Legion side. We mentioned Clanks, but also now Drunken, and then even Flux got it. So putting a lot of value into these Shrunken Heads when, honestly, heroes like Swiftblade is at a point where he's dealing a lot of physical damage, and Corrupt Disciple too. I mean, he's dealing quite a bit of physical himself. So Shrunken's always good. Yeah, and yeah, you got a Glacius, a Magnus. I mean, I understand the priority to an extent, but it's not fully effective.
Yeah, I mean, how are these team fights going to go down? Like, Hellborn team are the ones that got everything in their hands. I feel Legion team, they can't really catch anyone. So I guess they're just trying to, or the idea behind going for those BKBs is that, like, if they can survive the initial burst or the initial jump from the Hellborn team, then they should be able to get some counter kills. But seeing as they don't have any lockdown, I guess they can't go for two offensive items, because in that case, then the Hellborn team is just going to go back off, back in, back off, back in, and easily pick them off one after another. They're just going to go for it, like one kind of like all-in kind of strategy here. If this fails, though, if the Hellborn team doesn't overcommit, then it's going to be very difficult for the Legion team to actually get those kills.
Well, we are on this pause here. A couple things to bring up. First off, shout out to Helly1223 for subbing to the channel. 5 months in a row now. Shout out to you for being a Honcast sub. Hopefully you enjoy those emoticons. Actually, some fun ones, man. I don't think people realize the great emoticons you get. If you are a Twitch chatter at all, the but at what cost, the train, it's the elemental void, they're all fun. Anyways, also, again, to reiterate, today, this is the only round we're going to be covering on Honcast. I want to clarify this for today. It's actually, it's because of reasons that I have, where I have some other things going on after the first set of series today. But as far as the second round, it actually is still going to be played, so I want to be clear on that. So I even saw some people in chat, like some teams, wondering what the deal was with that. No, the round is actually still happening. It's later on today. It would be, the winner bracket round of 16, I think. And we actually, I wouldn't be surprised if some community casters are going to be covering some of those matches. So I'll do my best to let you know maybe if they are. But as far as Honcast goes, we will not be covering the later rounds today. So just to clarify what's going on there. So we'll be doing this first best of the 3 here. And then be done for the
Quincy
day.
actually typing in Skype now that Emphas at least will be covering some games. So probably some more. So we will have some community casters covering the next round.
There you go. All right, so it looks like these teams are ready to go once again. Though, again, this is a losers bracket round of 32 matchup here. But also, again, we'll be back tomorrow and continuing further coverage here as we are getting the later rounds. It really is starting to get very interesting. We definitely, and I was even looking through more of these teams here, and again, there's just names that happen to randomly pop up as you're looking through all these teams. It's like, oh yeah, I know these guys, and you realize that you recognize some of the players here, and looking forward to seeing their potential and how they do.
Look at Revenant, by the way. I've never seen this before, but it's so effective. I didn't think of it. You actually put Mortification up on yourself, and then you use the Essence Shroud, and then you just stand there and clear the tri-stacks.
Huh. Yeah, well, that makes sense.
It's kind of like Devour with the Veil Drought and DK. Like, just to clear out those stacks.
We have seen
small
that,
tricks.
Yeah. I know Geometer Spain actually on this hero can be considered decent as well for that. Not that reason necessarily, but it's an idea where, because it spreads to other targets, so it's really good for farming because you get mortification up on yourself and your illusions, and you can farm like crazy, or you can do a lot of good damage in team fights really with that combo. So that's something as well. But yeah, that's a nifty little idea right there. Man, look at this Swiftblade, by the way. 3,600 more gold saved up on him right here. So a little surprised, honestly. I would think sell the hatchet, get a portal key at this point. That might not be a bad option.
Yeah, either that or the Assassin Shroud. They already do have the Revenant though, so I guess the Assassin Shroud isn't necessarily needed, but it still could come in handy in those team fights.
Picking up something here. Oh, there we go.
Oh,
I was right. Ha!
Nice, Breaky. Nice call.
Yeah.
Let's see if he can put it to use here. He's gonna jump in. Oh, look at that!
Yeah, right away. Very good timing with that portal key. So I love Sanja, making Sanja proud right here. Whoever that is. And will deny the tower. So, I mean, that was interesting, though, seeing the Legion side. That was kind of the first time we've really seen them that far pushed up as a team and trying to really make something happen. But ultimately, get the tower denied and we'll fall back. Kongor's up, though. And guess where Team Zenzig is at.
I really don't know why the Hellborn team will let the Legion team get away with being that far offensive. Like, I mean, they have been struggling, or like they have been outside the Legion base, like looking to siege, and then suddenly Legion team just changes their minds and goes up all the way to the top lane and starts sieging their tier 2 tower instead. And Hellborn team is just like, yeah, okay, we don't want to fight. We're just gonna take Kongor instead, which is okay, of course, but I still think they could have punished the Legion team a little bit for being that far up.
On top of that, though, speaking of this stuff that just happened, is the Legion side was very late right there. It almost seemed like it was pretty obvious what was going on. Now, again, it's very easy for us to say with the God Vision and everything, but, you know, Kongor just coming back up. And I want to say this Ward side here in the middle, maybe even spotted them kind of rotating over. But anyways, they were heading over. They got there just really late. By the time they did, Kongor was already dead. At least they didn't commit to a fight after, something we see all the time where the team ends up failing with that, and then that's the game. So it's not over just yet, at least. And Team Zenzig, though, they got another token. Look at this Corrupted now. A Dancing Blade picked up as well. So, yeah, Quincy was actually pointing out earlier, I guess Staff is not necessarily a guaranteed win item by any means on Corrupted. Not that I thought it would be, but he's 6-5 with it, I think he said. But Wingbow, he's 8-1, I believe, was the stat there.
Swiftblade. So. Oh, actually, Swiftblade is one with the token. I thought Corrupted Disciple were the one with the token.
No, yeah, you're right.
I don't like that option. I mean, Corrupted Disciple has so much more sustain. Swiftblade is more like that's use your spin, use your Swift Slashes, get out of there. And now he's just going to feed the token, more or less.
Yeah. Not sure about that decision right there, but how will they play it after it comes up? Not necessarily the most aggressive play.
Guys.
Oh, but again, where's the follow? There's nothing. They don't have anything. Swift Slash is coming out right there. Clanks is trying to stay alive in the background. No, he's chasing with a shrunken head, and yeah, he will kill Corrupted Disciple right there. Flux is taking some good damage himself. He'll end up going down. Did a push at the last second. Magnus stuns in. Swiftblade with the spin on top. They catch Clanks. Clanks is frozen. He's going to go down right there. Swiftblade will survive in the background. Him, Glacius, and Revenant actually ultimately get away. So it ends up being, what, I guess really 2 for 2 there.
For 2, yeah. Surprisingly, I mean, if they would have had one set of stun after that Flux ultimate, then it would have been a complete genocide in favor of the Legion team. But as we can see, they do not have a single hero that actually goes well with that ultimate of his, unfortunately. So yeah, just a 2 for 2 exchange, and I guess we cannot count out the token that actually was on Swiftblade before that fight as well. But once again, I mean, Hellborn team is just gonna rotate back and keep farming the Legion Forest. They're gonna have to wait for yet another Kongor, potentially, unless they can get pickups. I would personally prefer if they just kept the pressure up and try to get some more pickups with this Revenant Invis. It was so effective in the early stages of the game, but then they just like tapered off for some reason.
It's kind of amusing to us. It's probably frustrating for Sjol, I'm sure, but at least I'm amused with the fact of how fantastic that ultimate was from Flux. I mean, you're not going to get a better Flux ulti than that. All 5 of them basically got collapsed on top, and that's obviously what you want with that. It's just, again, they don't have the AoE follow-up. So if they had if they had anything, a Behemoth, just anything that could follow that up even slightly effectively, then boy, oh boy, would that have been something. But in the end, they just do not have it in. So he can land the God tier ultimates all he wants, but clearly, that almost brings up a point that he shouldn't be doing what he did right there. He should be saving it for like later on in the fight, maybe for a defensive tool or trying to catch somebody that's running away. He shouldn't be going with this huge wombo combo ulti when they don't have the wombo combo factor. So something else to keep in mind for this Flux here.
Yeah, you're definitely right. He should just be playing way much more patient in those team fights. I mean, they got a lot better self-sustain than the Hellborn does. Like, the Clank is just going to continue to deal damage like throughout the entire team fight. Same with the Drunken Master and the Flux, while the Hellborn team, like we said, like the Swiftblade, he got spin, he got his slashes, but after that he's going to taper off a little bit in terms of physical damage output. Corrupted Disciple, he's got a lot of self-sustain, but other than that, Magnus, Glacius, Revenant, they're more or less non-factors, seeing as everyone on the leading team more or less got a BKB.
Yeah. Hellflower on Revenant is definitely coming up right here. You see the Wingbow finished on Corrupted Disciple, and my guess would be kind of interesting, but a Wingbow probably also on Swiftblade. We mentioned the idea of the Assassin Shroud. Granted, you did get the Portal key already, so... but part of me actually almost wants to say that could still possibly be a Genjiro full. But although it would be odd seeing a Dancing Blade purchase first. But because he has the Portal key, I think that could actually warrant it, but we'll see.
You could try to... Oh, he's going to go once again.
There we go again. Well, this time it'll work out. Swiftblade, he gets pulled in a little bit further, doing the spin though, so getting some good damage right there. Corrupted Disciple, not necessarily as safe. He'll start to fall back as he took some pretty good damage. Magnus does back up with the Eruption though, and Rhapsody will go down without a Protective Melody, but Corrupted Disciple falling in the process. They caught Clanks though once again, and Clanks will go down. Swiftblade, he's about very low on life, but so is Drunken. And in fact, Swiftblade goes back in to finish him off a double tap for Swiftblade right there, and now Flux going to be caught by Magnus as well. Will they have enough follow-up damage? Flux going back in even is not really too worried, although he probably should be. Glacius jumps in. Glacius will go down with it. Got the code of Flux, but look at Revenant doing some work right there. Clanks with a buyback, by the way, but that's going to come at a cost right here, it looks like, unless Flux has something to say about it. Magnus goes down. Swiftblade, one more auto attack. No, he couldn't get it off. No, the bank connects, though. It goes down. Revenant gonna fall. And the Clank's buyback is successful in the as they genocide to finish it off right there. Double tap for Wimpog on the Clanks. What a really crazy fight.
Big picture, they hold the racks, and that's what really meant something. And they get our genocide, of course. It came at a cost of 3 buybacks on Drunken Monster, Flux, and Clanks, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, it looks like it did.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's still some very valuable and some cost-efficient fight for the Hellborn team. So, they're probably not too unhappy with it. I mean, the Conqueror is going to spawn here in the near future as well, and then that's Token and the Bananas if they can secure it for themselves.
Yeah.
Clanks, though, he is starting to get closer to the next item. He's 1.6k gold here, but if he saves up for another 2 minutes, he might potentially get a Savage Mace here in the near future, if that's the choice that he tends to go for. I know Probusk is a fan for the Frostwall Skull. I could see that working in this game, but at the same time, I feel like they need some more physical damage, seeing as everyone more or less went for that BKB.
Got the Disciple level 21 right now. He's heading back towards the middle lane and continue to pick up some farm, but I gotta say, it is a little surprising that Sjol is able to hold as well as they are. As you mentioned, sure, the buyback's happening, but a hold is a hold nonetheless, as they do save the racks right there. So, you know, how many more times will they be able to do it? Well, that goes back to, again, Clanks, and despite him using a buyback, he has another 2,300 gold saved up. And I think Drunken Master, arguably, yeah, the kind of the bigger deal, though, really trying to enhance his farm to get some damage output. Now, the wing bows are most certainly an issue for him. So it's hard to say what route he could really look to go here to... I mean, obviously a Savage Mace would be nice, but that's not really...
Doesn't necessarily scream melee.
Yeah.
Not for Drunken Monster, at least, not this early on. Or actually, no, it's not too early. It's 4 to 6 minutes, but seeing as his farm is so low, you're just like, what do you do next? I mean, you could finish up the Demonic Breastplate, but I don't think that would necessarily serve too much of a purpose. Yeah, it's really hard to say. I mean, maybe go full out on the damage and just go for a Shield Breaker, something like that.
That's what I was thinking too, but man, those wing bows, it's like, those evasion procs are going to be brutal. But yeah, there's really no way you can deal with that other than a Savage Mace, so it's, yeah, you got to kind of take what you can get kind of deal in that sense, so. I love this Swiftblade skin, how it just gets bigger and better with the upgrades, that wing bow upgrade there. So, anyways, yeah, so we'll see what it goes for. I know Rift Shard's even definitely ill if you're going for the damage route. That could also be an idea of what he just decides to get. But Clanks is going to try to push the top lane, see if he can get anything out of it. Magma's already here though, with Hellflower by the way now. So
wait, what?
Revenant.
Why is Magma's up here? Was he going to try to spot Clanks or pick him off? potentially. The rest of his team is down in the Hellborn for Legion Forest trying to push the base.
Yeah. There was a little bit of a robots doing there, but yeah, I'm not too sure. I think he poured it back because I think they were pushing it, and it was kind of one of the situations where Sjol kind of poured it back as Magma's poured it up there, so it was just bad timing in that sense. But in the end, he ended up getting up here. Maybe if Clank's kept going, that really could have caused some issues, but obviously that's not the case. So it really does force Team Zenzig though to fall back themselves. A very likely way for another Kongor as middle lane. I think Corrupt is going to be fine. Yeah, no, he really wants to commit to this kill. Look at those illusions, though. Jeez. Dealing some good damage right there as Swiftblade jumps in as well. Flux protect him out. He won't come out. It's going to be a full duration right here. Saves Flux from all the damage. Down goes Rhapsody, though, and down goes Flux still. Meanwhile, the Swift Slash is bouncing, killing the illusions there of Clank. Clank's getting a little bit lucky that it did not bounce on himself right there. That could have been a difference maker. Oh, he's able to fly over the ledge, but he flies right into Corrupted Disciple, and it wears off in the last second as he's trying to fly over the other ledge. And down goes Clanks, a 3-for-0 exchange right here. And that's the opening that Team Zenzig was looking for. Clanks, he does have a buyback, his final one, as did Flux. He uses it. They are all in right here, having to defend. The lunge in on a Swiftblade. Flux with the follow-up release right there. But Clanks got stunned. The Eruption going off. The Storm Spirit's going to save some damage from him, but he comes right down into the Eruption. Down goes Clanks, and that should secure it right there. Team Zenzig in a great spot to go up 1-0 in this series now.
Clanks didn't use his BKB in any of those two fights.
True.
For God knows what reason.
Yep. He certainly did not use a shrunken, and man, you're right. I think I saw him use the Geometer Span a couple times, but yeah, clearly just forgetting almost he had the shrunken head in those fights right there, and that could have maybe been a difference in keeping him alive initially even, so. Well.
I probably wouldn't have mean them keep or staying in the game, so well played by the Hellborn team in the end. I mean, I guess it was Hellflowered at some point also by the Magmus.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, maybe he was just like, whatever, I'm already dead, no need to use the BKB. I don't know. Either way, well played by Hellborn team, and they're up 1 game.
They are. Team Zenzig 1-0 lead over Sjol here. Again, this is an elimination match, and a little more on the line than that meets the eye, perhaps. The loser here, they are going to silver. They'll start in that lowest tier division to start things off a Han Tour. And also at the end of the world, absolutely, but it's definitely, for both of these teams, they have gold division experience in previous seasons, apparently. Both of them at least looking to make gold, if not even that diamond division if things work out very well. So top 3 will be doing so. But right here,